Another question I noticed people have had some issues with was a question that was along this line here. Does the point -4, 2 lie inside, outside, or on the circle x squared plus y squared equals 21? To answer this question, we need to think about our properties of our circle. So if we look at this circle, does everyone agree with me that the center is just going to be at 0, 0? Everyone's comfortable with the center at 0, 0. Yep. And its radius, well, its radius is just the square root of 21, which is approximately equal to, I should have this figured out, 4.6. It's approximately equal to 4.6. So we've got that kind of information. So if I just zoom in, we know that this is the square root of 21, which is, it's 4.6 units long. So if we think, remember that the way that a circle is made is that we get this radius and we drag it around. It creates an arc. And anything that's inside, any point that's inside that circle, it's going to be less than the square root of 21 away from the origin, right? Its distance away from the origin is going to be less than the square root of 21. If it's outside the circle, its distance from the origin has to be greater than the square root of 21. And if it's on the circle, well, its distance away from the origin will equal the square root of 21. So inside would be less than square root of 21. Outside, the distance will be greater than the square root of 21. And on the circle is going to equal the square root of 21. So if I was just to change color and I'll plot that point, -4, 2, -4, 2, it's somewhere around there. It's just a rough sketch to get myself understanding where it is. I'm not 100% sure if it's outside, inside, or on, but what I can do is, if I find the length of this interval, let's call it AB, if we find the length of AB, we will then be able to tell whether it's inside, outside, or on. So if we were to think about this, the length AB is just going to be -4 minus 0 squared plus 2 minus 0 squared. And we find the square root of that. Well, that's actually just going to be the square root of 16 plus 4, which would just become the square root of 20. Right? Because the point -4, 2, its distance away from the origin is less than the radius. We can see that root 20 is going to be less than the square root of 21. We will say that since root 20 is less than root 21, -4, 2 lies inside. It lies inside this circle. All right, does that make sense? Using our idea that the radius sweeps across and the length of the radius will cover a certain number of points. So hopefully that kind of clarifies that. That's more thinking about our properties of circles and how far our radius stretches and what that encompasses. So I hope that helps. I think the other way you could have thought about it was talking about its range and domain. But for me, that feels the more intuitive answer.